folks, how you doing? Happy Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday, as they say. If you're one of those people who looks forward to the weekend, well, all I can say is if you're in the world of crypto and you care about Bitcoin, or Litecoin, or Solana, or anything else, it's been taking a hit. How's your fart coin doing? Held it pretty well, huh? Did it, huh? Anyway, meme coins. That one's a gas. It's a gas. Yeah. So what is Bitcoin doing? Well, last I looked about 5 minutes ago, it was down at around 95.1K and dropping nicely and looking for some buy pressure, and have been meeting some nice sell pressure the last couple of hours. Doing very well to the downside. What do you mean doing well to the downside? Well, there's only two things that move a coin, right? Or any asset. Apart from coughing, excuse me. Well, there's buy pressure and there's sell pressure. That's all that moves any asset on any market, right? So, when there's more buys than sells, price go up. When there's more sells than buys, price go down, right? At the moment, there's been a lot more sells than buys in the recent hours. But over the last few days, should not be a surprise to anybody, as they were trying to get some nice information on the VEPs, indicating the returns were dropping. And that's exactly what we saw. Right? Saw it starting on Tuesday, and it's continuing till now. Right? And that is why, if we go even below 95, it won't be a surprise at all. Right? Frankly, the probability is very good, but we will see it do that a little bit. But keep an eye on those mean reversions, especially on the lower time frames, just like we had yesterday after an extreme outlier showed the asset hit the third band to the downside on both the 1110 and the 3012 RMLRs, and then it hit again after several candles, after more than two, which is an extremely unlikely event, but it did happen. And extremely unlikely does not mean it can't happen. It means it's just extremely unlikely, highly improbable. But there's still a probability that it will, and it did. But why? Because sell pressure. Eventually, it got a bit of buy pressure, and then walked over a little bit, completed the mean reversions to both the 1110 and the 3012 RMLR. And then today, after basically zigzagging back and forth, and staying kind of around the same area, well, it found more sell pressure. Why? Well, because people are seeing the price go down. They want to sell. No, it's not that. That's what people will tell you. It's because the bots that control the markets are running the maths. They're seeing the VEPs, and they're doing those trades. And people are reacting to it in a panicky way. So sure, they're contributing to that a little bit. They're making it dip a little bit more than it might if it weren't for these massive bots that really run the markets. You can deny it all you want, but given that the ETF markets are run by these massive firms that distribute the Bitcoin ETFs. And given that in order to have an ETF, to be able to distribute an ETF, these companies that distribute the ETFs have to match whatever amount of ETF they're selling with underlying asset, right? Well, it means that they run an enormous amount of trades with, right, in order to capitalize. And sure, they buy OTC, they buy whatever. But I thought you said nobody was selling Bitcoin. No. I said that Bitcoin is extremely scarce. And that basically folks who hold significant quantities don't need to sell. And generally, they don't sell massive amounts. Are there on occasion people who have significant quantities, like individual whales or whatever, who decide, yeah, I've waited long enough on this investment and they take my money? Sure. There are people that do that for whatever reason, because they don't necessarily think go up to infinity and beyond, and they just want to cash out. Yeah, there are. Right? They want to switch their investments to something else. They're reading the market in some way that convinces them to do that. Right? Happens. Does that mean Bitcoin is doomed now? It's going to zero because it fell from 108K to 95K in 3 days? No. No, it does not. Right? What is that? A 13K drop in 3 days? When the price is at 100, it started at 108. It's at 95. If that's what's freaking people out, they're either new to crypto or they, for whatever reason, haven't learned the lesson. This is par for the course in crypto, especially in a volatile asset class like crypto. This is nothing unusual, right? This is absolutely normal. And it's not a reason to freak out if you're a crypto trader. Not a reason at all, in fact. If anything, it's a reason to celebrate getting a little bit of a discount when you buy Bitcoin, right? If you buy Bitcoin at these lows, relative lows. Of course, 95K is still not low for Bitcoin, but yeah, 10 years from now, you might say, wow, that was really cheap crypto. Doesn't matter if it's 95K or 108K. That was still ridiculously cheap compared to the $10 million that it costs now or whatever. Right? Well, for those of you who think, oh, it's over. Okay, sure. That's it. 16 years and then suddenly it just dies, right? While all these banks and governments are all buying into something that's just going to die for no reason. Sure. Could happen. Yeah, could happen. Could happen. Could also happen that the sun doesn't rise tomorrow. But I wouldn't lose sleep on that. I wouldn't bet on it. No, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is as reliable as the sun at this point. We only have about 16 years of Bitcoin history, and we have many billions of years of the sun being around. But at the moment, Bitcoin is proving that it does rise every day. In fact, it doesn't even just rise. It just is. Just like the sun just is. Doesn't rise, doesn't set. It's around like clockwork. We are the ones who spin around in our silly little ball and see it when we're awake. And if that's in the daytime for most people, then we see it in the daytime. And we don't see it at night because we're going to sleep or whatever. Just a silly example for you, silly metaphor. But there you go. So don't lose all hope. Don't think that just because Bitcoin took a little bit of a haircut, that it's suddenly dead. In fact, not at all. It's literally just sell pressure. Doesn't matter what the narrative will tell you, right? There'll be narratives telling you some banker said this, some analyst said that, some company did this, some whatever did that, right? Options expired, whatever, okay? It's all just sell pressure. It's all just sell pressure. That's what causes prices to drop. Nothing else. There's no fancy, crazy justification information necessary, okay? It's just buy pressure and sell pressure. That's it. There is nothing else that causes the price to drop. It's not some triangle or some wedge or some channel or some RSI or some EMA or some stochastic or whatever nonsense they throw at you. It's not, okay? It's literally the returns going down, right? Big picture. And you can see it even on lower. By the way, even if the returns increase, if they increase on negative correlation, typically price action will go down. Right? But yeah, the returns are falling, diminishing returns, and that's what led to the sell pressure. Why? Well, because when your returns are decreasing, that's when, as an investor or a trader, you want to take your profits. Why? Well, because you ever heard of buy low, sell high? Right. When your diminishing returns are happening, that's when you should be selling at the high, right? But it wasn't at a high, right? Well, then you got in at the wrong time. You didn't buy when it was low. But it was lower than I bought it when it started to sink. Well, then you didn't sell when it was higher than when you bought it. So you didn't sell high. Either way, you missed your opportunity if you did not buy low and sell high, meaning buy relatively low compared to your trade and sell relatively high compared to your trade. Right? So if you're in a trade and it went up even one standard deviation, heck, if it went up a half a standard deviation and started to tank, you should get out. Right? If it went up nothing and just started to tank, you should get out. But then I'm buying high and selling low, right? Because you got in at the wrong place, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you get out immediately, so you don't hurt yourself. If you're holding on to a losing trade, you're going to end up getting wrecked. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, what can you do now? Well, you can learn a better way to trade. How can you learn a better way to trade? Go to alphatradinghq.com/Discord. Go into the Discord. It's free. Click on the request support channel. Click the create ticket button. And just say you want the free volatility starter kit. And write your TradingView username so that we know to whom to give the access to our free volatility starter kit indicators to. And then you'll have access to all those indicators and all the educational information you need. And you can learn from real traders who use the VEPs every single day to trade real assets on real markets using the single best mathematically driven, mathematically based, highly relevant information, leading information to be consistently profitable traders, using the same maths that are used by the HFT firms that run the vast overwhelming majority of all trades on any market at any given time. That's going to do for now, folks. Take care. Peace.